Welcome, guys. Welcome to my channel of Indian polity and history. So, I am Dr. Jitu S. Jainath. I have experience in teaching polity history to civil service aspirants. So, this is my new channel in which I will try to explain, some basic things about our Indian polity class, which will be very simpler. We will cover basic concepts. The agenda for today's class is introduction to Indian polity, importance of understanding the constitution, key features of Indian constitution, focus areas of UPSC aspirants, and simplifying complex concepts. So this class is not only for UPSC aspirants, this is also for laymen, common people, those who want to know Indian constitution. So Indian constitution is not only for lawyers, Indian constitution is not only for UPSC aspirants, Indian constitution is for the common people, because majority of the provisions of the constitution are for the common people of our land. So it is very essential for each one of us to understand the basic tenets of constitution. So I will try to explain constitution in the most simpler terms, the basic concepts, and also for UPSC aspirants also it will be very helpful for prelims and also aims, and also for all the state PSC exams. This will be very helpful. So please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon so I can put in more videos for you to understand it in very simpler way, in the most basic. Even a 6th standard student can understand. So if some students are watching this video, if they are trying to pursue civil service maybe in next 5 to 10 years, this is a foundation class for you. Okay, so we will start from the very basic scenarios of Indian constitution. Okay, so the agenda for we will talk about what is Indian polity, importance, why you need to learn about Indian constitution, what are the key features of Indian constitution, what are the focus areas, that we will also explain, and the simplifying the complex concepts of Indian polity. Okay, so why Indian polity should be learned? Okay, it's essential for all Indian citizen to know it. As I told, not only for UPSC aspirant, the channel is to help you understand the basics of Indian constitution, not only by mere words but by spirit. So in this session, in this small 1 hour or maybe a small session, I will try to teach you not by theory, not only by theory, by the essence of it. What is the spirit behind each words written in the Indian constitution? So it will be a very enjoyable journey. We will not make it very boring. Whenever we hear about Indian constitution and law, we will say, oh, it's a boring topic, I don't want to learn it. But this is a very beautiful topic, this is a very interesting topic. We will try to make it more interesting. We will say examples in between, so we will make it more interesting so that you can understand the basic tenets of Indian constitution. So what are the key features? We will start with the key features. We will not waste any time. We will start with the key features of Indian constitution. Why our constitution is very famous all over the world? It is lengthy and comprehensive. The length and comprehensiveness of our Indian constitution is known all over the world. Secularism and equality, second feature of Indian constitution. Third, fundamental rights. And fourth, democratic framework. Length and comprehensiveness means because India is a vast country, and India not only in terms of land area, but also India is diverse in terms of language, culture, states, boundaries. Even in a subcontinent like India, we are covering a vast amount of languages, different cultures, different identities. So like we will say, as in our national anthem, we will say Jana Gana Mana Adinayaka Jai Hai. Like we will say Punjab, Sindh, Gujarat, Maratha. So all these areas are covered in our constitution. So it's many. When our constitution came into being, many foreign authors, many foreign constitutional experts said that our country cannot be governed by constitution because this country is very diverse. It's not like UK. For example, in UK, majority of people, 95% of the people are talking English. In France, majority of people are speaking French. In Italy, majority or 95% of people are speaking Italian. In for German, for United States, it is one of the greatest democracies of the modern world. The major 90% of the people are speaking English. So maybe there are some countries where we have two languages. For example, Canada, we have two languages like French and English. But otherwise, all other countries are ruled and governed by a single language. So a country like India, where we have multiple cultures, Aryan culture, Dravidian culture, and we have multiple, region-wise differences, cultural-wise differences, and also language-wise differences, cultural barriers, and also caste system existing in India, different social structures, social barriers. In a country diverse like India, it is the constitutional experts, the Western constitutional experts said that to govern a country like India by a single constitution is, unimaginable. It is not possible. But our founding fathers of constitution knew the dangers of that and understood that it should be very comprehensive and it's very lengthy. It should be explained in total detail so that India can be governed. That is the farsightedness of our founding fathers of our nation. Second is secularism and equality. Secularism and equality is one of the cardinal principle. There is, for example, even in 1947, when two countries came into being, Pakistan and India. Pakistan was a country which was founded on religion, and it is called, Islam. The capital city is called Islamabad, and they told our country is, based on religion. But India said that our constitution, our country will be based on secularism and equality. Okay, so these two cardinal principles are always there in our constitution. So we know how Pakistan is doing now, how our country is doing in terms of how well our economy is growing, how well our people are working in different parts of the world, and making our country shine. Everything. So it is because of the beautiful structure of Indian constitution. It is also because of secularism. It is also because of equality. You should remember that. Third is fundamental rights. It is one of the key principles which our constitution took from various other constitutions. For example, the Bill of Rights of United States. So the Bill of Rights, the fundamental rights is one of the fundamental cardinal principle in our constitution, which helps judges and the constitution and also the administrators to govern the country by using the fundamental rights and the fundamental duties. And fourth is the democratic framework. That is the people, the power of the government. It is not a unitary government. It is not a government ruled by one person. It is by the people, of the people, and for the people. That is the democratic framework. So that is the key features of Indian constitution. That is length and comprehensiveness. It's very lengthy and comprehensive. I told you why. Secularism and equality, and third is fundamental rights, and what's fourth is democratic framework. Okay, now we will go to the next slide. That is, what are the emphasizing on the right focus. Understanding the Indian polity is crucial for, I told you, this channel aims to break down the complex concept into more simpler terms. Content is tailored both UPSC and general public. Interactive classes will enhance learning and engagement. So we will strive for more interactive sessions. So these are the focus for our sessions in here. Okay. Now, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, one of the architects of the Indian Constitution, or the father of Indian Constitution, said, Constitution is not merely a lawyer's document. That is why I already told you, it is not only for lawyers, it's not only for administrators, it's not only for IAS aspirants, it's for everyone. So it is the vehicle of life. What we are governed by, we should know it now, and also what our life is all dependent on our constitution, and its spirit is always the spirit of age. So because this famous statement says that as we grow, we have to understand the ideals of the tenets of Indian constitution. It's very important, you should know that. Okay, that's a great leader, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and we should know the Constitution, the features of the features of Constitution is the fundamental law of the country. What is the origins of Constitution? Came from a Latin word used for regulation and orders. The word Constitution in Latin means a set of regulation or orders. It is a fundamental law of the country. It is the farsightedness and the visionary leadership of the founding fathers of Constitution which has bestowed our country with an outstanding Constitution that has worked as a beacon for the nation over the last 75 years. You should know that our founding fathers were well versed about our shortcomings and also how our country can be governed. So they gave us a beautiful Constitution. Okay, we should be proud of our Constitution before we learn our Constitution. That's what you mean by the importance of Constitution. What are the qualities? Now we will come to certain we will compare our Constitution with different sets of other Constitution of the world. But before that, we should know what is an ideal Constitution, why we need a Constitution, and what are the features of an ideal Constitution. One first important thing is should incorporate the constitutional law of the state and they enjoy supremacy. That means there is no single person who is above Constitution. Constitution is the supreme. Even the President of India comes under Constitution. Even the Supreme Court Justice comes under Indian Constitution. Even the Prime Minister comes under the Constitution. That is why it is said that the Constitution is the real head of a country. That is the basic law or the base foundational law of a country is governed by the Constitution of the land. Second, it should be systemically written. That is one of the qualities of a good, because in some countries like Britain, it is an unwritten Constitution. So I'm not going to compare unwritten and written Constitution right now. I'll be comparing it later. So third is it should have the ability to develop change in accordance with the changes in the environment and the needs of the people. For example, in 1950, 1947, there were a lot of, our needs were there. These are not the needs which we are now facing. So there should be flexible and also it should be rigid. There should be a mix of both flexibility and rigidness in the Constitution. That's what I'm going to say. It should neither be unduly rigid nor it should not be unduly flexible. So these are the qualities, some qualities of Indian our good Constitution. So fifth point is it must provide for fundamental rights and freedom of the people, because as I told you, in a democracy the people selects the government. It's not the other way around. People selects the government. People elects the head of the government. So it is a fundamental right. So the people should always be protected. 6, it should be clearly define the organization, the powers, functions, interrelations of the government of the state and its three organs means legislative, executive and judiciary. 7th is it must provide for the organization of representative, responsible, limited, accountable government. That is very important word. Limited, accountable, responsible, representative. So everything is written in our Constitution. That is why I said our Constitution is a very modern document which has a spirit in itself, and that document itself is an example of our proud country India. It's representative of our culture, our tradition. Everything is there in our Constitution. 8th, it must clearly reflect the sovereignty of the people. The ultimate power lies in the people. 9th, the language of the Constitution should be simple, clear and unambiguous. Yes, our Constitution is simple. Any layman can understand it. Okay. So now these are the features of a good. I think if you understand our Constitution almost 90% fulfills all these criteria. And 10th, it must provide for rule of law, decentralization of powers, independent and powerful judiciary, a system of local self-government, a sound method of amendment of constitution and process, machinery for conduct of free and fair. These are all important for a good democracy. One is rule of law. The law should be always the supreme, because everywhere we go in a panchayat, institution, in a police station, in a judicial institution, even everywhere we go, the rule of law, the rule of constitution must be supreme. It should be there. If the rule of law is broken, it becomes a rogue nation. It's rogue nation, a banana republic. Okay. Decentralization of powers. Always the power should not be centered in one person. The power should be decent. Like Panchayati Raj system is the best example for decentralization of power. Independent and powerful judiciary. Judiciary should not be, maligned by the political people. Judiciary must not or should not be, always dependent on the political people or the legislative or the executive executive. Judiciary should be independent. That is one of the cardinal. If the judiciary is gone, constitution, even if we have a very good constitution, there is no use of a very good constitution, because if the judiciary is not there, who will protect the constitution? Judiciary is one of the cardinal pillars of Indian constitution. So if the judiciary is not independent, there is no use to have a good constitution. And also the amendment process should be clearly mentioned. Yes, it's there, and the process of measure is very important. Free and fair conduct of the election. If the election commission is it's maligned or had taken a partial position, then even we have a beautiful constitution, the election commission is not free and fair, there is no use. There is no use to have a good constitution. Now coming to, it should empower the judiciary the power to interpret, protect, defend the constitution. So even though president is one of the defendant of the Indian constitution, we could see that from time to time by many judgments by the Supreme Court ordered that the basic structure of the constitution should always be protected. So the basic structure of the constitution is always defined and protected and interpreted by the supreme authority, that is the Supreme Court of India. And also the fundamental rights and freedoms of the people should be protected against the extreme legislative and executive programs. So these are also the basic tenets of Indian constitution. So what constitution and constitutionalism is different. Constitutionalism has more important part of a good governance. Constitutional is the political philosophy on which the idea that government authority is derived from the people and should be limited by the constitution that clearly defines the functions of the government is based. And also, even if we have a good constitution, constitutionalism is not inevitable, because constitutionalism comes when the powers of the governments are limited. We don't give arbitrary powers to the government. When the government's powers are limited and the people's powers are protected, then it is the spirit of constitutionalism. For example, if a country has a constitution and the country is governed by somebody like North Korean dictator, there's no use of we cannot say that constitutionalism is there in that country. We cannot say that in countries where elections are rigged, where elections are not there, and the elections we have dictatorship like in Russia, maybe in China or in North Korea, we cannot say that constitutionalism is there, because there the constitution is only a mere document where constitution is not having the supreme authority. It lies within a ring of people who enjoys the ultimate power. They take decisions, not the constitution. Constitution is not the hero there. Constitution is only a mere document there. So constitutionalism and constitution is two different things. India can be stated as, till now we can say there is no dictatorship to an extent. So constitutionalism can be there in a country only where we consider constitution as supreme. For example, in the current India-Pakistan conflict, the Prime Minister had to visit the President of India before taking any military action against any a hostile nation. So that is the beauty of constitutionalism in India. So a dictatorship, for instance, may be subsist pursuant to a constitution, but depend more on dictator's authority. So if a dictator is there, his authority will be supreme than the constitution. There is no constitutionalism, but there may be a constitution there, but that is not the spirit of constitution. These are the concepts we try to explain the simpler terms so any layman can understand. That is why this channel will be very helpful for you to understand the basic tenets of constitution, the basic philosophy of constitution, to read between the lines. So this will be very helpful for the layman to understand constitution. This channel is exclusively made for layman, UPSC aspirants, those who want to pursue civil service or any PSC in future few months or maybe years. Okay. So now we will come to some theory about the historical background, how democracy evolved, from the historical, roots. So the roots of constitutionalism are from 13th century. In the year 1215, the King John of England signed a document called Magna Carta. Magna Carta set the specific limits on king's power. So that is, the first step to, give away the power of a king to the constitutional document. That was first country. So you now we know how a constitutional country, constitutionalism can take a country from a primitive roots to how United Kingdom, you know the history, I don't have to explain how United Kingdom or England has ruled the world for many years. We know they were imperialistic for it, but how they reached to that extreme power, how they could amalgamate that power. So this is under constitution, that is the power of constitution. Even if there was no constitution in England in 1215, I doubt whether they could achieve the heights they achieved in 16th century industrial revolution and so forth. So we should remember that's a power of a constitution. So that is one of the best machinery by which a country can be governed. Okay, many people will say that earlier in India we had a kingdom rule, kings were good, this that, and lot of agendas will be there. Don't don't give attention to that all craps. Give importance to the constitution. You know the history, learn history, will understand the importance of constitution. Later in the year 1689, the Bill of Rights was signed by King William III and Mary II of England. The Bill of Rights outlines the rights of English citizens, which place limits on the monarch and the parliament. So the ultimate power lies in the people, and the king's power were reduced, and the power of the governing body or the constitution was enlarged in 1689. That is the beginning of constitutionalism or democracy. Not to be said democracy, it is the beginning of constitutionalism. What are the features of constitutionalism? Constitutional represents antithesis of arbitrary rule. Arbitrary rule means what? If I am a dictator, I can rule by my own whims and fancies. I don't have anyone to challenge me. That is what you mean by arbitrary rule. Opposite the despotic government found in the raw will of an individual or limited group rather than the rule of law. It is a limitation of government by law. And what are the essential features of constitutionalism? If a constitutionalism must be there in a country, earlier we were talking about the essential features of a good constitution. Now we are talking about essential features of constitutionalism. The popular sovereignty, that sovereignty lies in the people. The ultimate power of the country, the ultimate power of the constitution should be protected. That is popular sovereignty. The second is rule of law. Above everything, the rule of law. The governance should be done based on law, not based on their whims and fancies or their favoritism. Third is limited government. The government's powers are not exclusive, they are limited. They don't have unlimited power. Separation of powers, there are checks and balances. For example, executive's powers are defined, the judiciary's powers are defined, and also legislative checks and balances, and there are clear compartments for each power sectors. Now coming to other features. Civilian control of military. So it's a civilian bureaucrats who control, because military cannot be given the ultimate, like in Pakistan, many times military rule used to take over the civilian government. No, that is not the feature of constitution. Constitutional means civilians control the military. Police governed by law and judicial control. So police cannot have arbitrary rules. Police are governed by law and also by the judicial control. If it is not there, police can do whatever they want. A inspector can do whatever they want. Whomsoever they don't like, they can put under this jail. Okay, and there should be as I already, independent judiciary should be there. Respect for individual rights of the people should be there. Right to self-determination, what job I should do, where I should go, these all kind of things should be. There should be a freedom for everything. These are the power of constitutionalism, features of constitution. So constitution in Indian constitution perspective, we have federalism. There are two sets of government, one is the central government and the state government. There's a secularism. No religion is we are not governed by any religion, and every religion has equal protection, and there is reasonableness. There is a reason for every judgment. There is a ample amount of reasonableness. Independent judiciary, as already told, doctrine of rule of law, separation of powers, free and fair election, decentralized, accountable, transparent, democratic government, fundamental rights and welfare. These are all things we have already discussed. Now coming to constitutional morality. Constitutional morality basically means adherence to core principles of constitution in a democracy. For example, constitutional morality was discussed many times by the Supreme Court. Supreme Court Justice Keshavananda Bharati case, and also they have said the basic tenet. When executive or judicial, legislative try to take away the basic core philosophy of the constitution, they make amendments. Judiciary will come and say, no, you cannot text the basic tenets of the constitution. And that's what you mean by constitutional morality. It's a living document. Constitution is a living document. Okay, by this we end the first chapter about the introduction to polity. I hope that everyone understood the cardinal principles of the constitution, constitutionalism, constitutional morality, key features of Indian constitution, key feature, ideal, what should be an ideal constitution, etc., etc., etc. We have learned a lot of things in this small session. I hope you will, we will subscribe to this channel. You will like this channel, also comment on this channel about your various doubts so that I can put in more videos. Thank you for your time. Thank you for please subscribe my channel. Thank you.